So, I don't know if you've heard, but Xbox has been trying to acquire Activision Blizzard. Um, uh, shouldn't happen. That's like ridiculous. They got Bethesda.
Right.
Bethesda. Bethesda's huge. They got Doom, Dishonored, um, uh, uh, Fallout, Skyrim. Like
Yep.
that's insanity. And now you're trying to tell me that potentially, not potentially, it feels like this is about to go through. That the governments of the world are about to just let Xbox acquire Activision Blizzard, one of the hugest publishing companies on the planet Earth.
Mm.
And it's ridiculous.
It
And
is ridiculous.
it's starting
It's
to.
like, have you not? Do you not have enough? It feels kind of gluttonous
Yeah,
almost.
and people want to always make it. Some people make it a console wars thing, like they actually are upset about it because they're PlayStation fans. But there's some Xbox fans who are like, "Oh, you're just upset, and you're probably just a PlayStation fan." It's like, no, I just don't like monopolies. I would be mad if PlayStation was doing this.
Right.
It doesn't matter who's doing it. It just shouldn't happen.
Mm.
Uh, so so I watched this channel called dang, why am I forgetting the name of the channel? That sucks.
Mm.
I can't remember the name of the channel, but it's a channel that's like gaming news. Inside Games. That's what the channel's called.
Mm.
And they do a bunch of game journalism, and they've done a lot about the this merger between Activision and Blizzard, and essentially it feels like from the information that they have and what a lot of people who are very knowledgeable about these things feels like that a lot of what's going on publicly is kind of just a show to people trying to make it seem like they're fighting real hard to not let it happen, but behind scenes they've already worked out a deal and it's going to happen eventually, and that
Oh
and that
boy.
and that sucks. One of the concessions that are being put up by the EU regulators is an agreement to continue bringing Call of Duty to other platforms for 10 more years. Nintendo has signed off on it, but PlayStation's really pushing back hard. The problem is that both the regulators as well as PlayStation aren't giving like proper arguments as to why this shouldn't happen, and because their arguments are so stupid, it makes it look like they're just upset about it and they don't have any valid reasons, and because of that, it's probably gonna go through because they just don't know how to argue their
Oh,
position, and the reality is the people who are arguing from PlayStation are kind of just upset that it's happening and not really fighting, in a way that would be smart and would probably actually get the regulators to be on their side. And
right.
as much as I hate this, if it were to happen, which I don't want it to, but if it were to happen, there would be a silver lining, and that silver lining would be that it would force PlayStation actually start making some first person shooters, and
Yeah.
they before they make a new one, they would probably just bring back the old ones like Killzone and Resistance. Okay, those are two first person shooter franchises that they have. The first two the first one didn't. Killzone was whatever. The second one was really popular. The third one was relatively popular. The fourth one, Killzone Shadowfall, which is like one of the first PlayStation exclusive games released on the PS4, didn't do well. It didn't review well, but it sold well. But that studio is actually the studio Guerrilla Games that's working on Horizon. And
Mm.
the thing is, we could be put in this position where either I don't know if PlayStation will either they could go two ways. They could either stick with what they're good at, which is single player games. They make the best single player games in the market. Nobody does better than them in that. Um, so they could just stick to that and have that be the thing that brings people to their console because Xbox just doesn't do it as well as them. They're better with like multiplayer and sources and shooters, especially if they get Activision, which has Call of Duty and
Mm.
Overwatch because of Blizzard. Um, they could do that, or it might force them to have to bring back their old first person shooter games like Killzone and Resistance, which I've never played Killzone, but I absolutely adore Resistance.
Mm.
Resistance 1 and 2 are so good, and I used to play the like split screen multiplayer with my brothers all the time. The Resistance games are amazing. I haven't played the third one ever in its entirety, and I think I might have to play the third one sometime soon. I think it's one of those games that was like stuck on the PlayStation 3, so it's I would have to like stream it, which sucks. But
Uh,
um, yeah, as much as it sucks if it were to happen, there could be some positives. By the end of the day, it just shouldn't happen.
yeah. It's like, what even is the point?
But yeah,